Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 10th of June, starting off with the FTSE 100, which has done what we didn't want it to do, but did want it to do in the sense that we've broken the floor of that rising trend channel from back in February, 82.40. Below that, there was the risk of 81.50 at the 50-day line, but not expecting worse than that. The reason for the negativity, obviously the failure to get through to 8300, and also the double failure at the rising uptrend line in the RSI window, which is effectively a leading indicator on the downside. Really need to get an end of day close back above 82.40, get us back on track for a move higher within that rising trend channel and as high as 8700 by the end of next month, which even now seems to be a bit of a tall order. Moving on to the DAX, and here we've got the market maybe shaking with the political issues that have arisen over the weekend, but still above the 50-day line there, 18,300, and actually just within the rising trend channel from back in the autumn. So really looking for a break of 18,700 to give us a return to progress within that rising trend channel from back in October. 19,800 the best we could expect by the end of next month. On the downside, the 17,700, 17,800 April-May support area on offer if we do break down below that 50-day line on an end-of-day close basis. Moving on to the Dow, and here you can see that there's been the dance either side of the 50-day line. At least we are well above the floor of that rising trend channel from September, 38,300. While that's the case, another move towards 40,000 is still possible later this month. RSI still below neutral 50, which suggests or leads us to believe that we would have to retest the floor of the channel or even down to late May support at 38,100. But so far, hanging on in there within that rising trend channel. Moving on to Bitcoin, where there have been hopes that we would be able to break that line of resistance from March. 72,000, the number there. Above that, then we could progress within the rising trend channel from back in November, as high as 89,000 by the end of next month. But obviously, once again, that seems like it's a long way away. Support 65,000, the floor of the channel, and the 50-day line, which is still rising. And we've also got the RSI above neutral 50 at 55. So still, technically, the balance of probability in favor of breaking 72,000 and heading higher, not only retesting the 73,800 zone, which was the March record peak. Moving on to gold, and here there's not a pretty picture. We've got the market basically ready to test the floor of that rising trend channel from back in December, 2280, and early really well above the 50-day line, 2345, on an end-of-day close basis, cancelling out the prospect of 2280.90 over the near term. RSI now done at 44, so balanced on the downside at the moment. Still the chance that we have a quick rebound and break of 2400 to get up to 2580 by the end of next month, but obviously the clock is ticking on that particular idea, and it's difficult to deny that we've got a mixture there between a double top and a head and shoulders top on the gold chart post-April. Moving on to the stocks, and we are rather spoilt for choice. One or two shares that could have been here didn't make the grade, but first one is Asian Energy, and here you can see that we've got the market looking for further gains. A little bull flag has developed above the rising 50-day line. Initial target here up to 29 pence at the top of that broadening triangle there from back in March, and looking for that to happen later this month while we remain above recent broken resistance around 18 pence. Great move in or a great run actually in Allergy therapeutics, resistance lines and targets broken all over the place, but the unfilled gap to the upside today is significant, and that suggests an initial target here 8.35 and a best 7.35 rather, and the best case scenario up to 8.25 pence at that resistance line projection from this time last year, hopefully by the end of this month. Only back below 5 pence and well below the gap floor there, 5.25, really delaying the upside scenario. Clontarf is next within our RNS today, and here, even though it looked like we were falling for good, it looks as though we bounced off the floor of a broadening triangle there from January. Top of the triangle there at 0.07 pence. We're looking for that perhaps by the end of next month if we're lucky, but at least recent resistance, the initial resistance of this month around 0.04 could be on the cards, while we remain above current support around 0.15. One of the best IPOs of the year, which was Golden Metal Resources. Here we are nudging our price channel top there, 23 pence. We're looking at for that, I think, by the end of this month, but it's obviously arrived a bit earlier, and looking for as high as 31 pence, the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from back in September, by the end of next month. A little bull flag at the moment, and ideally we stay above the 20 to 21 pence level over the near term ahead of a push to the upside. Next up is Helix, which also is vying for being one of the best IPOs of the year. Here we've got a rising trend channel that's been in place since the end of April. Top of the channel there, heading for 32 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month. If we're really lucky, we'll get it by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay above recent support around the 21 to 22 pence area. Kropz is next, and shied away from it looking at it yesterday on the basis that it was and still is very volatile, but it looks like the shares have found their feet. There was old resistance around the 2.5 pence level, and above that we're looking for a move towards the top of that broadening triangle from the beginning of last year as high as 6 pence by the end of this month. But the key here, holding that 2.5 to 3 pence area in the meantime. Moving on to Mkango, and here you can see that there's been a gap to the upside, full gap to the upside off basically the recent support area. That suggests that if we can get an end of day close through recent resistance around 7 3/4 pence, basically where we are now, we could hit the top of that falling trend channel from back in November up to 11 pence by the end of this month. But the key here is holding the 6 pence area. Recent winner has been Mosman Oil and Gas, and here we've just backed off from our best case scenario target 0.46, but that's still on the cards while we remain above the previous target 0.33 on an end of day close basis. So let's see if Mosman can deliver. Good news from Powerhouse Energy in terms of the chairman, and that's left us with a failed gap fill. I've tweeted out on Friday that was hoping that for the shares to bounce at the top of the gap there at 1.4 pence. We had a slight nudge below that, 1.375, but no one's perfect. But at least while there's no end of day close back below the floor of the gap there, 1.3 pence, we're looking for progress within a rising trend channel from back in February to hit 2.3 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. Good news as well from Greece and from Rockfire, and here we've gapped up. We just need to break the 50-day line there at 0.205, perhaps maybe call it 0.21 to be safe. That was the old support area between November and April, and above that looking for the 200-day moving average, 0.28 by the end of this month. Regtech is another bear target, which seems to have smashed them in the face. Here you can see that we've not only hit the first target there around 3.5, we hit the second target 5.5, and that's become new support. That suggests that we should be looking for a third target there as high as 11.6 pence, and we can see that perhaps by the end of next month if I can get it onto the screen. There it is, and ideally, as I said, support remains around 5.5 pence. Worst case is that we have to maybe get down to the old resistance on the way down, 4 3/4 pence, before the assault on 11 pence plus is delivered. I like the key reversal to the upside that we saw last week on the SRT Marine Systems chart, and we managed to push through higher than that peak there, around 21 pence, and also above the old April support there at 22 pence. While we're above 22 pence, looking for up to 36 pence by the end of next month, which is the 200-day moving average area. We haven't been above that since back in September. Finishing off with a stock which still seems to be threatening to revive itself, Shield Therapeutics, bouncing above the 50-day line, which, as we know, is a positive and also a rising 50-day line now as well. So hopefully this is a sideways shuffle ahead of a move to the upside, hopefully a significant one, maybe as high as 3.5 pence at the top of that rising trend channel base from the end of February. This stage only back below the channel floor at 1 3/4 pence, really delaying the upside scenario. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.